guess kicking things off with injuries, I saw Cam York out there doing some rehab. Is he expected to join the main group soon, or
Not sure. Yeah, he's day to day.
day to day?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Cam Atkinson back with the main group. Is he good to go for the weekend preseason?
Full
games?
practice, ready to go. Yep. Not sure where it sits with the games, but he's ready to go.
John, with Igor Zamola, you guys haven't seen him in a preseason game yet, but he's been with the big club group. Are you guys viewing him like a guy that has a job to basically lose with the big team?
Oh, no. He doesn't have a job to lose. He has a job to try to win. By no means is he penciled in as along with a number of people. But he's going to get a look. Yeah, we're very interested in him, but no chance is a number of guys that you may think are penciled in are not. But he'll get his opportunity.
Are there any reins on him with his shoulder?
Nope.
Or is he good to go?
No, which is really encouraging because we weren't sure. I know before even camp opened, we weren't sure when he was going to be able to have contact, and right from the get-go, he's been allowed. He's been cleared, so it's really good because he's way ahead of schedule.
What have you guys seen from Samu Tuamala so far this camp? He played in both the preseason games. He was out there with the main group today, so it seems like you guys are happy.
Yeah, my point of view is I watch him like I watched him last night come out of a corner, out of our end zone with the puck, and just explode out of there. Really, I don't know much about him. I just watch his explosiveness. I just think he's had a good camp. He's been noticed. Hopefully here, as we figure out all the other exhibition games, I'd like to try to play him in more of a like a top six role. I'm not sure where all the bodies are going to be at that time, but I think he'll get another game so we can see that in a more of an offensive role. But I went in blind about him. You know, he's been back over, and I just haven't seen him play a whole bunch, but I've been impressed with him during camp.
John, what were your impressions of Adam Ginning last night, and do you anticipate carrying 8 defensemen?
I don't know what we're going to carry, Sam. It's way too far off for us to look at that. But the thing I like about him is he's in the way. I think he understands the position of where he needs to be. I think that needs to be a big strength of his because of how long he is and what area he can take up. I think he'll get a faster track to the National Hockey League if he hones in on that and works on his positioning. So I thought he had some good minutes. Probably get another game, and we'll just keep evaluating.
What goes into the totality of the evaluation of kind of the backup goalie spot? It can be tough at times, I'm sure, to just go off games because there's a couple times Peterson was kind of left out to dry in the first game. Like, how do you kind of look at the total picture, and how does that process?
Yeah, I rely a lot on Dilly. He was left hung out to dry, but we still need to get a save too. Everybody stunk that game, including our goalie. There's no one should hide from that game. That was just and listen, that's a game where some guys could barely put one foot in front of the other after the volume of skating they went through. And it's hard I know my general managers get mad at me about it, but I think it's the proper way I like going about camp. The first couple of games they're hard for these guys because of the volume of skating. But as far as the goaltending, he'll play again. All our goalies will play again, and Dilly is the one that gives us a lot of information on there. And I don't watch him in practice. The game time is a very important time for me in watching that position. So we'll just evaluate that way.
So last night, then you had to like what you saw out of the 2 guys in the game last night.
Yeah, I thought I don't think there was panic in their game. And listen, with Peterson, it was such a gong show in front of him. It's hard to look good, but still, when you're trying to fight for that number 2 spot, you got to come up with 1 save or 2 saves along the way there. And not that he wasn't trying, but not much happened. But that's a hard one. That's a hard one to evaluate on.
Last year you were open at that you felt like Sam Urson was the best goalie in camp, but there were other factors at play. He'd missed most of the last year with injury. There were waiver factors and whatnot. This year with these three guys, with Sandstrom, Urson, and Peterson, is it more of a whoever Dilly says is the best goalie is winning the job, or are there still outside factors that are going to determine who makes it, who doesn't?
From last year?
Compared to last year.
Yeah, you have to look at what happened with Urs last year, how he handled himself. I mean, that's what kind of endeared me to him, how he handled the mental part of the game. So I'm not going to throw that away in evaluating this year. But I don't know. I don't know Peterson that well, and we want to be fair. We want to check him out also, and let's see how he rebounds. In his next start. That for me, that's what I look at is the mental part of the goaltending. Dilly is in charge of all the other stuff, so I'm not throwing away anything that I saw last year in Urs because that's what kind of put him to the forefront for me.
I guess less about that, though. What I'm more saying is, like, you've got Urson, who is younger, is still waiver exempt.
Mm-hmm.
He can go down without the risk of losing him.
Mm-hmm.
Peterson and Sandstrom would have to clear waivers.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a situation where, even if Urson is better, those waiver factors play and he might not win the job, even if he's the best goalie in camp again?
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. I don't think so. Sooner or later, you got to start moving by that stuff, and it's kind of unfair when we want to talk about merit and not stay with merit right on through, no matter what position it is. And that's the concern of mine in that question. So we're there are some situations in my mind, not just the goaltending, but some other situations where there could be some surprises if it continues and based on merit. So I'm not a big guy that keeps track of all that contract stuff and money and draft pick and waivers. And I certainly have to listen to my general manager when it comes to waivers. You don't want to lose some of your depth within the organization, but for me, what far outweighs that is the guy better. Has the guy played better? So in my heart, that's what I'd go by.
Given that, obviously there's the looming Hockey Canada and the other investigations, that probably will play a part into how you guys view that math with the depth. I mean, I don't know if you guys have talked about that, whether...
We really haven't. I know it's out there. Everybody knows it's out there, but we've got to be cognizant of our depth in our goaltending position. I mean, you saw our draft, and so we're very cognizant of what's going on there. And again, the Hockey Canada, I don't know what I have. Not to say I'm not paying attention to it, but it really I don't have the information what's happening there. I got to coach the team, and but that position, it's a very important position for this organization to get our depth back to where we want to get it to.
When you talk about Sam's Erson's mental game, is it that he's just calm? Because is it your belief that if a goaltender's more emotional, it can affect the guys in front of him?
You can still be you can be emotional, but I don't think Sam. I don't think Sam lets it get so it doesn't get away from him. I don't think there's a lot of panic if there's a bad few minutes or remember what happened in Carolina. That's what kind of said shit. The kid he handled himself pretty well there, and something that we weren't. It just happened that way, and it certainly wasn't planned, but. Yeah, I don't think. I think he's got as I said, I think he's got the right swagger, and it's not on the wrong side of it where he's not doing his work. I just think he handled himself very well. And all right, that didn't work there, but I'll be ready. It's not going to get me, and that's what I kind of appreciate about him.
Players sense that in front of him too.
What's that?
The players in front of him sense that.
I think players. I can't speak for them, but I think players. I think it's one of the most unique positions in all of pro sports because players play off of it, and your bench gets big because of a goalie, and your bench get really tiny because of a goalie. So yeah, I'd say yes, but you'd have to talk to them about it.
John, with Tyson Forster, I'm not sure how you view his camp, that one preseason game, but how much do you weigh his camp also against what he did last year and kind of opening your eyes last year?
Yeah, I'm certainly we certainly were impressed with him last year when he came up, but nothing's for free. He's still trying to find his way and earn his way here. You just don't throw things away because it's a new year. I mean, when you're developing young players, you have to look at that stuff as far as how he handled himself. So, but is he penciled in? Absolutely not. It's just like I'm not going to name names. There's a couple of guys that have kind of surprised me that I didn't expect to be on the screen for me. That have kind of had a really good camp, and that all weighs into it. People fighting for positions. So Tyson's got to just keep on staying about his business and fight for his job.
Hey, John. Back to like all the skating you guys do at the beginning of camp.
Mhm.
How much of a factor do you think that plays into later in the year, where a game like Monday, where they look super tired, but they push through and still play? And they get the
It
result?
pays off. That's what I try to tell them after every practice when we're done. It's going to pay off. It's going to pay off. And other coaches may disagree with it. Other people may disagree with it. I just find we've had success on spending a number of days early on in something that you can control. It's your conditioning. And now remember, there is a little method to it. If players don't do their work in the summer when they know this is coming at the beginning of the camp, they won't get through it. So a lot of it is to make sure they get their work done when we can't touch them during the summer, because no athlete wants to be embarrassed. And there were a couple that were close to being embarrassed here, this camp here, and that plays into it also. It's just to kind of hang something over their head, but it also I think it pays off as you go through a long year in getting the right foundation of conditioning, and it's one of the few things you can control in this game is that.